Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It says we're live. I just had to tune into InfoWars. They had the interview with Mark Passio today. I wanted to hear how that would go. It was supposed to be Monday, but it got rescheduled because of the mass shootings. They wanted to cover that on InfoWars Monday instead of their guest, Mark Passio. And I didn't hear the whole interview, but I tuned in just before they discussed this story that's somewhat viral now on social media, and that is that Monday, an NBC News contributor suggested that by Donald Trump keeping flags at half-staff until August 8th, that was a tribute to the Nazi Party, because 8-8 is representative of the letters HH for Heil Hitler. And, of course, since 2015, I've probably done at least 200 videos, at least, maybe more, 200 videos on news stories coding 88 into Donald Trump headlines. And rather than go over all 200 of those posts, if you want to take the time to go through my blog, it's full of information related to 88 and Trump. I want to educate on this subject about 88 and Donald Trump. But before I get into that, if you watched the clip with Passio and Alex Jones, or you listened to the show, they also brought up the word Gematria, and they didn't really elaborate on anything. And if anything, they kind of dismissed the subject as coincidental. So, what I want to show you is that Donald Trump's tribute to August 8th is no accident. And then I also want to talk about my disappointment in Mark Passio, who's always calling people little boys and girls and cowards, yet on Alex Jones' show didn't call him out for the many things that he should have called him out for in light of what he preaches almost every single week. And that is that government is slavery and the two-party system is a lie and a distraction and a deception. He let Alex Jones go on the whole show talking about leftists and Democrats and liberals and, painting the one-sided argument that he does, which keeps people enslaved in the two-party system, and a number of other things. But again, I also want people to understand that if you're really trying to understand the occult and how the cabal, the government, operates, you need to understand this language of Gematria. Mark Passio, it's fine that he teaches natural law every single week, but in his 3-hour shows, if you watch them, they're very repetitive, and if you take, on average, each week, his show, he probably spends 30 minutes doing the exact same rant, calling people little boys and girls for questioning his history in the Satanic Church, and I just think, why does he do this every single week? I mean, the same rant, the same tired thing, the same tired act. Why does he spend 30 minutes teaching what I've been teaching for years? Natural law is fine, but if you want to boil it down, natural law is like teaching a little kid how to tie their shoes. Essentially, the extent of understanding natural law is if people are good, the world will be good. If people are bad, the world will be bad. Very straightforward, So anyway, it is a great point, but again, it really is like tying your shoes, and it really doesn't help you fight the cabal. This knowledge does. So if Mark Passio was on his Gematria game, he could have, shut down what Alex Jones was trying to show, and he could have showed what the real ritual was with this entire 8-8 thing. Before we get to the 8-8, I just want you to see that the NBC News contributor, Frank Figliuzzi, I want you to see that his name sums to 85 because he made these remarks on Monday, August 5th, 8/5 or 5/8. And of course, news by the numbers every single day. This chosen puppet in the media was chosen to make this statement on this day for these reasons. Because every single day, every single piece of news information is encoded this way. And InfoWars does this every single day too, showing that they're part of the cabal. And I noticed in the discussion today, from what I heard, I didn't hear anyone calling out Zionism or, Donald Trump with his head on a shekel. I didn't hear any of that. Didn't hear a peep about it. So nothing really was exposed. But anyhow, old Frankie 85, just like Donald John Trump. And this was the news on Monday, August 5th, which is now still circulating. August 5th can also be written 5/8 like 58. Freemasonry's 58, Rosicrucians 58, Secret Society's 58. Donald Trump, the winner of the 58th U.S. presidential election. Again, he announced he was running from the 58-story Trump Tower. He hired the 58-year-old Steve Ray for Inauguration Day. And there's been about a million other 58 rituals with Trump and his tower and everything about him since. You could include this story on August 5th as well. Now, with regards to Trump in 88, since 2015, I've literally done 200 or more videos on encoded 88s in the news headlines and stories for Trump. And it all began with the headlines that were emphasized about Mexicans doing the raping. The way all the outlets phrased those headlines, they all encoded 88. So, Trump's 88, the Republican Party's 88. By the way, Clinton's 87 and the Democratic Party's 87. But Trump 88, the Republican Party 88, Mein Kampf's 88. See, that's where they're going with this. But people don't realize that Mein Kampf equals 88. That's that's Hitler's book. And remember, I was talking about this in 2016 when there were rumors that Trump was carrying around Mein Kampf, and I was saying, what a joke. Donald Trump, all of his children married into Jewish families. He loves Israel. He's been to Israel on Jerusalem Day since. I said, this whole thing is just more divisive crap just to, get people angry and outraged. But it's obvious that Donald Trump is no Jewish hater. He is Jewish. Anyway, there's something to that, though, because who paid for Hitler? Who really paid for Hitler? What banks really paid for Hitler? Again, the truth is here. So Trump 88, the Republican Party 88, Mein Kampf 88, Jewish 88, occult 88, Jewish Kabbalists, Kabbalah, occult knowledge. Who controls the media? Who controls InfoWars? Sometimes I wonder who controls Mark Passio because he never talks about this. Let's go to some of the classic 88s with Donald Trump. His GOP convention began July 18th, 2016. So many rituals in that, but you might recall he came out to the song Queen, We Are the Champions. And I pointed out that day, I said, how funny that he comes out to Queen exactly 88 days after Queen Elizabeth's birthday, Elizabeth 88. And then at the Democratic convention, they got a woman named Elizabeth to mock Donald Trump coming out to Queen. Go back and look it up. August 8th, 2016. Who could ever forget that was the day Donald Trump announced his tax plan. Tax plan equals 88. Donald Trump on 8/8 comes out with the tax plan. Trump earned the endorsement of 88 retired generals on September 6th. By the way, George Washington equals 88. On the night of the rigged election, Bill and Hillary came out in what color? Purple. Purple. And why did they do that? Because purple's the color that sums to 88. It's all rituals. When Donald Trump became president, I did a long video and I said, circle the 88th day of his presidency. I said, I guarantee you'll see some huge 88 ritual on Trump's 88th day in office, and it ended up being a helicopter crash. And again, Donald Trump, helicopters. There's been headlines about Trump and helicopters since he began running. Donald Trump said, I am a Batman on a helicopter. Go and look for that headline. Everyone published it. Donald Trump says, I am Batman on a helicopter. Why does it even matter that he's on a helicopter? Notice almost any time Donald Trump's speaking to the media, they have him outside a helicopter that's on with his comb-over hair blowing around, loud noise. Why are they doing that almost every time he's on TV talking? There's something about Trump and helicopters. On his 88th day of being president, you got the staged ritual of the helicopter crash at the Bretton Bay Golf Course in Maryland. Notice Bretton Bay Golf Course is 88. Helicopter crash is 88. Maryland's 88. Again, Trump, the Republican Party, George Washington, Agent, Beast, they're all 88. And with regards to the Beast thing, the number of the Beast, helicopter is also 666. Number of the Beast is 174. This happened April 17th, 17/4. There's a date with 58 numerology that happened on as well. It's part of the reason I said remember that date. His 88th date, the date with 58 numerology. It was even 58 days from his upcoming birthday then. His birthday is June 14th, Flag Day. Imagine if InfoWars, when this subject came up today, if this knowledge got dropped on that audience that has millions of listeners. You think their ears would have perked up? They'd been like, wait a minute. Instead, they got to hear the word Gematria real quick, and then it kind of buzzed over as like, oh, coincidental. The patterns have to be meaningful. I'd have to go back and listen again. Mark Passio said something like, yeah, the patterns have to be meaningful for it to have any significance. Like, whoa, Trump, August 8th, 8/8, there's not a meaningful pattern here? I mean, this is a pattern I've been talking about for, again, countless hours, examples since 2015. And when I tune into Mark Passio, and understand, I have respect for Mark Passio, and understand him and I are supposed to be on the stage together next September at Anarchadelphia. That's his hometown. Him and I are supposed to be on the stage together September 15th talking about the occult. But for all the years that I've listened to his work and followed him, it has been annoying to always hear his same tired rants about how only he's, speaking out against these things, only he's calling out these things. He's disappointed that other people in the YouTube community aren't sharing knowledge about the things he's sharing knowledge about. And I'm just like, well, are you paying attention to anybody else in the YouTube community, man? I put out thousands of videos calling out these things, and to be perfectly honest about it, I do it a lot better than you because I show real evidence. I don't just spout my opinion. Like, for example, when Mark Passio talks about gun control, what does he say? He doesn't come with any evidence for how the rituals are orchestrated. He says things like, I don't care if you kill 1,000 babies with guns, I'm not giving up my gun. That's my right. The founding fathers. It's like, well, is that really that persuasive of an argument to show what the federal agenda is? I don't care if you kill 1,000 babies. If anything, man, it might make you look like one of the crazies that the media is trying to paint gun owners as being. So anyway, I heard something about Gematria just getting skipped over, 8/8 and Trump not being made any meaningful connection or pattern. I just thought, whoa, man, that couldn't be any further from the truth. And again, Trump with the endorsement of 88 retired generals, George Washington's 88. They did that on September 6th, 9/6. Freemasons 96, George Washington the Freemason. Think about Purple Hearts and all that. And again, that was Trump's 88th day of his presidency. And from then to now, there's been a million other 88 things, which again is why the flag's really being kept at half staff until August 8th. And as a reminder, this interview was supposed to happen August 5th, but they pushed it. If it would have been August 5th, it would have been on the day leaving 148 days left in the year. Fraternals 148 and 58. Mark Passio, I've heard him say before, only little boys and girls blame things on Freemasonry, but again, it's not blaming all of Freemasonry. There's plenty of people who join Freemasonry because they want the brotherhood, the knowledge, community. When we're exposing Freemasonry on this channel, we're not talking about these people. We're talking about the Masons who run media, who run government, who run churches. That's who we're talking about, the ones up at the top. Not just the, casual Mason who probably has no idea about any of this. But what else is interesting about that date they scheduled it for is it's the day leaving 148 days left in the year, and Mark Passio's 148. So they had to move it because they switched up their programming. But the other thing that's real interesting about Mark Passio is he tells the story of how he was recruited to be a priest in the Satanic Church, and he was recruited by Anton LaVey, the face of the church. And maybe Mark Passio really isn't educated in the language of Gematria. Maybe he really doesn't know much about it. I have watched his September 11th presentation on Gematria, and really I didn't see any Gematria in there, to be perfectly honest. He did some, numerical outputs. It was more like mathematics. It's more like the mathematics of 9/11, not really the Gematria 9/11. But Mark Passio, isn't it interesting, using our base ciphers, how he has overlap with Satanic? Maybe the real reason that he was recruited into the Satanic Church, which he admits that he was a member of, is because he had the right name for it, and this is how the controllers operate. It's entirely possible that Mark Passio is not aware of this about his own name. Or it's also possible that he is, and this is why he doesn't share this knowledge, because he doesn't want people to make these observations. Mark Passio spends a lot of time calling everybody cowards, but I got to be real. Mark Passio doesn't even allow people to comment on his own YouTube channel. Really? You that scared of a few trolls? Don't let a few bad apples spoil it. Or is that the reason? Or is it something else? But is this a meaningless pattern? Mark Passio, 12267. Satanic, 67-122. Man with history in the Satanic Church. And again, for all of Mark Passio's efforts to educate about natural law, how does his ego fit into that? Because anybody who listens to Mark Passio, he is a me individual. And, he shares with his audience, which is true, that Satanism is self-worship. Mark Passio is a me person. And he's saying things all the time that aren't true. And it seems that he only believes those things because he's never looked out. He's never spent the time to even see what content's out on YouTube. I've been hearing him say the same thing the whole time I've been here. Nobody else is exposing the federal government. Nobody else is calling out the police and military. I'm thinking, dude, wrong. You're right that there's not enough people doing it, but it's not just you. It's not just you. So, ultimately, Mark Passio, I do respect him. I think the majority of things he says are true. He also says things like, this nation was never more free than when the founding fathers were setting it up, and that's a load of malarkey. I mean, really? That's a very white perspective. How about when the natives lived here before, the Europeans came over? I think it was a lot freer here, personally. We didn't have the gunpowder yet. That was the difference. But, still, government is slavery, his motto. He's right on about that. It absolutely is. The political system's a lie, a deception. He had 1,000 opportunities to make that point on Alex Jones' show today. He didn't do it a single time. He just let Alex Jones do his thing. And again, that's cowardice. I wouldn't even want to hear it from him saying like, oh, well, I was being polite on the show. You're not a polite person, Mark Passio. Don't front. You're someone who talks shit about humanity every day. You're someone who, badmouths almost everybody. And I do too. I mean, I in a way, I'm kind of the pot calling the kettle black because I'm fed up with humanity too. But I'm not as bad as Mark Passio is, that's for sure. And anyway, if I was on Alex Jones' show, I definitely would have called out his bullshit. I don't care if he cut off the interview and never had me back on there. Because that's what you should do. You should stand up for truth, not cater to a deceiver and a liar and a fraud and someone who sold out the truth community. But nope, there was none of that. You didn't say a peep. You were quieter than a church mouse. You just let him go on, talking bullshit. And then when the moment came that you could have really done something big with 88 and Trump and Gematria, the words were all said right there. You just said, oh, there has to be a meaningful pattern. And I thought, oh my God. Either you're completely ignorant because you haven't done any research about, the most important knowledge that's been put out in the truth community. And that might sound like an arrogant statement, but somebody prove me wrong. Somebody show me anything, even a fraction as relevant as what I've been putting out since 2013. Please do, because I don't know any information in this community that with facts exposes how fraudulent the government is, how rigged the system is, how scripted the news stories are, and plus other things. I take it to a whole lot of other things. I try to wake people up because the mind's eye of the masses is on entertainment. So I show them how rigged their sports games are with proof. Call the championships year after year. Show them how they're synced up with the news stories. Show how this whole Kabbalah web, exists and is used every single day. So I just had to shake my head at that moment. The 88 moment. And again, the other thing that I've always wondered about Mark Passio is why won't he call out the old small hats? Never heard him mention anything about the Talmud. Not a peep. And again, I'm reminded, he was in the synagogue of Satan. He was in the Satanic Church. So, all right, Truth Seeker. I'm going to leave it there. Got more work to do, but just wanted to make these points clear. Till next time.